Listen, if you think sex is just an act, just some casual interaction, you're missing something fundamental. Women often ask, why do men lose interest? Why do they leave after intimacy? Well, let me tell you, if you approach sex the wrong way, as mere entertainment, as something trivial, you will never command the deep respect and loyalty of a man. Because to a man, sex isn't just physical, it's a signal, a statement about his value, your value, and the future you're building together. And if you don't understand that, you risk losing everything. Men do not view sex as just a physical act. It is far more than that. It is a deeply ingrained signal of value, trust, and emotional significance. When a man engages in intimacy, he is not merely chasing pleasure, he is subconsciously evaluating the depth of his connection with you. Sex represents something much greater than momentary satisfaction. It carries psychological weight that extends beyond the act itself. A man's perception of a woman is influenced by how she treats intimacy, whether it is something sacred and meaningful or something casual and transactional. Even if he is not fully aware of it, his emotional attachment, level of respect, and long-term commitment are shaped by the way sex is approached within the relationship. It is not just about attraction, it is about the unspoken signals that dictate how he sees your role in his life. When sex is treated as a casual, routine, or purely physical act, it begins to lose its deeper significance. Men may engage in it for pleasure, but they instinctively differentiate between experiences that are merely transactional and those that carry a profound emotional connection. When intimacy is given too freely, without emotional depth or personal investment, it fails to create a lasting impact on a man's psyche. There is a difference between sex that is meaningful and sex that is merely convenient. If a woman treats it as something trivial, without expectation, without emotional depth, or without reinforcing her own value, the man begins to associate it with something replaceable rather than something to be cherished. Over time, this can diminish his emotional attachment, leading him to view the relationship as temporary rather than something worth protecting and committing to. Men are naturally wired to value what they have to work for, invest in, and earn. This applies to every aspect of life, career, success, relationships, and especially sex. When something comes too easily, without effort or a sense of exclusivity, it is often taken for granted. If intimacy is given without requiring emotional investment, commitment, or deeper connection, a man may enjoy it in the moment, but will not feel a compelling need to stay or build something long-term. He may appreciate the physical pleasure, but he will not develop the same level of emotional attachment that comes when he feels he has earned a place in a woman's life. Men respect what they perceive as valuable, and value is often tied to what is not easily obtained. When a woman sets clear standards, demonstrates self-respect, and establishes boundaries around intimacy, a man views her as someone worth pursuing, protecting, and remaining loyal to. On the other hand, if sex is given without expectation or meaning, it can weaken the psychological drive that fuels a man's long-term commitment and emotional connection. Men are constantly assessing more than just physical attraction when it comes to sex. They are evaluating loyalty, emotional connection, and the deeper qualities that define a partner's value. Whether they realize it consciously or not, the way a woman approaches intimacy sends signals about her mindset, her level of self-respect, and what kind of relationship dynamic she expects. If a woman gives herself too easily without requiring emotional depth, a man may subconsciously see this as a lack of selectiveness, which can affect how much he values her in the long run. On the other hand, when intimacy is approached with intention, exclusivity, and emotional connection, it strengthens a man's perception of her as someone worthy of commitment. Men are wired to seek security in a relationship, and how a woman treats sex influences whether he sees her as a long-term partner or a fleeting encounter. Beyond the physical, he is searching for signals of trust, emotional depth, and compatibility elements that determine whether he will invest his time, energy, and resources into building something meaningful. A man's perception of sex with a woman is a strong indicator of whether he envisions a future with her or sees the relationship as temporary. If intimacy is approached without meaning, depth, or emotional connection, it often becomes something he enjoys in the moment but does not necessarily associate with long-term commitment. When sex is purely physical without emotional investment or a sense of exclusivity, a man may not feel the need to build something more significant. However, when a woman sets the tone for intimacy with purpose, expectation, and emotional connection, she naturally creates a dynamic where he sees her as someone worth committing to. Men differentiate between short-term pleasure and long-term fulfillment, and sex plays a major role in how they categorize a relationship. A man who views a woman as someone he can respect, build with, and emotionally invest in is far more likely to stay loyal, devoted, and committed. However, if he sees sex as something given without standards, meaning, or selectiveness, he may enjoy it but will not feel the urgency to protect, cherish, or build a future with that woman. His actions after intimacy will always reflect how he perceives its significance. If a woman wants a man to truly value, respect, and commit to her, she must understand that sex is never just about physical pleasure. It is a reflection of how he sees her and the relationship. Men may not always articulate it, but they instinctively categorize intimacy based on the level of emotional investment, exclusivity, and meaning attached to it. When sex is approached with depth, self-respect, and intention, it strengthens a man's attachment and fuels his desire to protect and commit. However, when it is given without standards, without expectation, or as something casual, it loses its power to inspire long-term devotion. The way a man views sex with a woman is a direct reflection of how he views her worth in his life. If she commands respect, he will treat her with respect. If she sets the foundation for an emotional bond, he will seek to build upon it. But if intimacy is approached without purpose, he may take part in it, but he will not stay for it.